Good morning. Welcome to Options Center. We're going to do an intraday video here for the members. I will release this to the public a little bit later, but I want to make sure that I got this out so we could work on checking out individual stocks, indices, rates, dollars, VIX. We want to check out all these items fairly rapid so we can see what's going on here. We're looking for a reversal. The market is burning premium with CPI and so many short-term traders out there. So it's trying to burn their premium, and then the market will be able to move after that, I suspect. So there may be the real move tomorrow. Going into next week, we'll see what happens. But we are holding strong with our shorts. We did have to do a few adjustments, and going to press them a little bit more if we inch up any higher. So let's jump into it. Let's start off. We're at the VIX futures. We're going to do most of these on the 65-minute, with the VIX futures forming a falling wedge just underneath support. But to me, this appears to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move down, meaning that this is an A expanded B into C here. So this is a corrective move, and that this continuation should start going higher to make new highs. Okay, that fits with our scenario that the market is going to head to new lows. There is bullish divergence. I'm not going to show all the indicators. Let's go to SPX. I want to focus mostly on traditional technical analysis because we know that we have our divergences in, and so we want to just focus on visual of what's happening. Now we have a lower high here. I did go to a lower time frame. It's possible to count this as a leading diagonal. It does appear on a 65 as a three-wave move, so it's possible that we don't eke out a new high here. Okay, while the Qs, the triple Qs, the tech, it seems to want to push up higher to a certain point, we're not really moving here in the overall market because the small caps are so weak. Okay, so we don't have a technical breakdown until we drop below this trend line here, but so far we have a lower high. With tech, big tech, coming into their targets, I'm not sure that we're going to get any other high. If we eke out just slightly a new high, that could mean this is a wave 5, and that we don't need to go any higher. You know, it's possible to go into this moving average. We'll see how the market goes, but so far, I do believe this might be just a lower high. Let's check out ES. I look at all of these. I chart all of these indices and individual stocks because we get different sort of pictures with this. Okay, so we have ES. Might be getting a little glitchy here again. Okay, so we have our trend line, our wedge. So all we were doing is forming this wedge here. Overnight, we hit the top of the wedge again. I know this can be adjusted just a little bit different. And we broke down from our next trend line, okay, that we had from highs. All we did today is form a lower high. We're back testing that trend line. Okay, so that's another clue that we may not even make a higher high. I can count 5 waves in here already, with this being a 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. That I just said that wrong. That's an A, B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, just to be clear, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have our flat, or if that's a 5-wave move on the left there, then that's it doesn't matter, zigzag. Either way, we have our ABC correction that looks like it's complete, back testing the trend line, and we'll see where we go from here. So you see how that ES gives us a little bit different point of view than what SPX does. I have not used NDX in the past, so I need to catch up with that chart. So I'm not going to show it here today, and probably not for a while, until I catch up all my trend lines and gather everything up for NDX. So we're going to jump over to the futures, NASDAQ futures, and you see it's the wedge forming the wedge. Same situation. Made a top there, just riding the top here. Could not break above. Tried to do a throw over, rejecting off of it. So this one counts just a little bit different, since we already have our AB. That's a much larger AB. This one has a 1, 2, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the wave 3 finish, 4 and a 5 to finish up here. Okay, so that completes our ABC up there. Now, it's not confirmed until we break this next trend line here. So we have a little bit to go, but nice rejections, tail candles off there. We have a tweezer top. I'm not going to look at the small caps. Small caps are clearly bearish. We took off, our IWM trade here today because, maybe the small caps bounce a little bit into tomorrow or so while tech and the rest of the market catches up. And I just didn't want to, the risk reward wasn't there anymore. We made a couple dollars off of that trade, but, we're lucky enough to get out of there with about break even, because it was going against us pretty well. So now the risk reward is extremely more valuable here on the NASDAQ and on SPY. So we're going to focus on these. We usually focus on them anyway, because IWM is so volatile. It's its own beast. But you see, this risk reward is clearly much better. So we're not going to do Bitcoin today. We have VIX, just another point of view. Taking a look at the VIX, we have that divergence right into the 200 moving average, starting to get the tweezer bottom on that with positive divergence. We can also count this as an A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for an ABC correction right into support. The rates have been really what's been controlling the market, and rates came into support. I was looking at that yesterday, and now having a nice bounce, and that should continue. There's going to be a time, though, you guys, when rates are bearish, heading lower. Okay, I know that it's counterintuitive. We've been constantly talking about rates going to the upside, being bearish for the market. And with the dollar, same thing. But there's going to be a time when economic data turns around and is bearish because the Fed is putting its brakes on. It's putting its brakes on pretty hard, actually the hardest in history. So there's going to be a time when the rates are going to tank. Bonds are going to shoot up because our economy is coming to a complete halt. So I don't put too much weight into these in order to determine my trades. I think that's just a fool's game there. So I do pay attention to them just to see where the market, just for the theme of things, to see what's happening, but it does not put too much weight into my trades. Okay, getting to the individual names. Apple. So Apple's getting into its downtrend line. It's at the options expected move. Can it move up just a little bit higher? Sure. Maybe it's consolidating right now and we have a couple more points into this 183 to where we could see just, the Qs inch up as well because Apple is controlling it. And it appears that we have a 1, 2. This for a wave 5. So we have a 1, 2, 3, and maybe this is a wave 4 consolidation. We'll get our wave 5 hopefully by the end of the day, so we can start seeing things turn around. If you're swinging Apple puts, I do think this is an objective short here at the options expected move, as well as adding onto your position up here, closing the gap. I don't think Apple's going to move much further, so you have some room to play with. I'm already in Apple puts for next week. Amazon. At the end of this video, also, I'm going to show you how we could really kind of consider this. We have to consider the bullish scenario if and when we get our reversal. We got to see how things end, and I'll probably end up doing that tonight. So we could, I don't think I'm going to focus on that today. Sorry, I don't want to make this too long. So tonight we'll talk about any sort of possible bullish situation going into the end of the year, just so we have that in mind, because we're going to get a pullback here no matter what, whether you're bull or bear. And we'll check that out later. Okay, so Amazon. Zoom into Amazon a little bit. Amazon, it's kind of the same situation as Apple. Pushing here today. It's too bad we got out of our Amazon calls. We were getting into some resistance, and I just felt that Amazon was already getting to our point where there wasn't much left to move, and that kind of proved us wrong. So it's a 382 retrace, and then the 50% retrace is somewhere around this 135 area. We're real close to it, so it does look like there's a consolidation area, possible wave 4. So I don't believe there's a whole lot left here for a wave 5. So you have your A, B, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and working on 4 of 5 here. And this is just we already had our impulse move down. So this is just a wave 2 pullback. All right, that gives us some idea that the market is going into its next fall. And Amazon could be very bearish for that. Apple, since it's been holding up so well, this can be an idealistic situation for the overall market as well. So you have Amazon setting up a 1-2 and going possibly much lower. And then you have the market setting up as a 1-2, 1-2, or just like Apple, this could be a 1-2, 1-2, which that's how I'm counting it so far. But depending, and we'll determine this later on as we get near the lows, this also could be just a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for a leading diagonal. Then we get our rebound, and we continue lower. So keep those instances. I'll reiterate those over and over again. Don't worry as I put out these videos. So Meta made a new high. We are short Meta into that new high. I do think this is just about over as well. Meta is always difficult to count, but I think we'll be looking for. We have divergence on the daily time frame, making this new high. I don't think there's much left here in Meta. It does appear that it's a 3-wave move. And that's not how we make highs, unless it's a wave B and then a wave C to go lower. And that C can go much lower if this is very bullish. Just Meta's the most bullish of all the stocks. So I know Google's right behind. We'll have to play around with this in the future, but I do think with the divergences happening, we get at least a pullback. So that should be a nice swing into next week. Don't forget, we have earnings coming up as well. So lots of things to talk about going into earnings into the end of this month. You have Google on the 24th. That could be our bullish situation to where we just pull back, make a higher low. And, I don't bet on earnings, but depending on how the market takes the earnings, we can sort of determine what's going on there. Now, it looks like we have a ending diagonal here on Google, made a new high. We're going to move this trend line here. And so I do suspect we break down from an ending diagonal. We're back up into, so we did take swings on Google as well. We're back up into resistance of this ending diagonal with negative divergence. And this just a straight line move. Some of these players, Meta, Google, they love to get, Apple has been known just to go in a straight line to hold up the market. And that's what we're doing today. I do see this starting to turn into next week. Microsoft is, it doesn't like to obey trend lines very well. You see, I have all sorts of, we'll just call them all pivots, really, because we get above and over, underneath, over, constantly. We get reactions off of them, but Microsoft is just a beast that just moves the way it wants to. We're breaking this downtrend line here, but really we're just forming the same thing, a 1-2, 1-2 setup, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just like Apple, just like the Qs, 3, if this is the case where we don't make it much lower, 3, the wave 3 is smaller than wave 1, so we're very limited on how far price action can go. So we'll look for divergences near the lows. Tesla, all over the place today. Tesla is in this triangle. And again, this is one of the real reasons why I think this is a 1-2, 1-2 setup, heading much lower. It's because we didn't even make new lows. We didn't come close to making new lows on this move here. So this is not a wave 3. It just can't be. So we have 1-2, 1-2 setup in Tesla. We are short Tesla into next week. I think we also have, if we did, we have a little bit of room, according to this trend line up above. It's not going to make new highs, but maybe it just spikes through. So, we put some time on Tesla. So I do think that we have an A, B triangle, and then a 1. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at this. I think we have a zigzag into here. So this is an A, B, C for a zigzag for a larger A. And then we have a B. And then we have a 5-wave move up for a C. And that ends that one. We have a 1-2, 1-2 setup. And the market's just pausing. It's just waiting. I wouldn't be surprised if, whenever 3 o'clock or so, 2:30, whenever the real near term, like the OTDs, the expirations for today and tomorrow, people start getting out of them, that the market actually starts moving. But we'll see about that. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get that move we're looking for. And NVIDIA, just notorious for making us pay. So we are still in NVIDIA swings for next week. Our ones for tomorrow are dying. We have our trend line here, and all we're doing is backtesting that trend line perfectly. I thought that we got back to our 618, and I had a nice wedge here, and NVIDIA just kept going. And now we're into the downtrend line. So it does have a touch more to go. You can adjust the line. I understand that. They're mostly zones. So we got to the zone. We got to the back test here of the downtrend line in the macro look. So we have this A. This is a 3-wave move up for A, a B, and now it looks like some sort of ending diagonal. It looks real funky. Now, this is probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just getting our extension in wave 5. All right, so we should be looking for this one to reverse anytime soon. We are up into the... We're just past the 62% retracement. So, if price wants to go a little bit higher, you have the 482 up above. But that would be breaking the downtrend. So, maybe that would go into the top of the channel. Anything's possible if the market needs to go higher, but not probable. I think our risk reward is now much, much greater. And now looking at SPY, we have a wedge. So again, I think we're looking at a 1-2-1-2 setup, or a 1-2-3-4-5, where we just get a little bit lower, maybe to the point of control there. We're looking for the trend line to break. We have this nice wedge, very similar to SPX. We're into the options expected move, so it's a very comfy spot here for the market. Most of the move has been done. Once you get to the options expected move, it's typically the move is just about over, unless we're really starting to extend in the market. And this is just a correction. So it got up to the options expected move and it's just kind of hanging out here. So the options expected move, I'm going to link 2 videos, breadth, and because breadth is terrible today. Very negative. And then the options expected move. Those are things that can help you in your trading. So SPY, again, we're just looking for a sell signal. We are in this in multiple expirations. And most of all, I think this is the most important chart here to coincide with rest attack. And this could be, again, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move down to the trend line, or maybe a little further. But we'll measure out. I think this is shorter than wave 1. For wave 3, I think it's the same as Apple. But if we're anything like what Tesla is showing, then these are all 1-2-1-2 setups. And we get very bearish. Now, just like the Fed, FOMC, whenever stuff like that happens, CPI was a catalyst. Clearly, it's not doing anything. We're just burning premium. The next day or 2 is usually when you get your real move. So this one, we have our A, B, and then 1, 2, and then our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we eked out another wave up here. So I think that's the end of it. If not, if we're just trying to do some sort of ending diagonal inside of here, it's going to be a real tight move. You see we're rejecting off the top of the wedge, but we have a little bit more space up here to 374, which coincides with our 786 retracement. So this will be my last entry for the Qs. If we get up here, it will be a pretty hefty trade that I'll take if we even get up there. We're having trouble with this downtrend. It's just really just a pivot from 2 points, from these 2 points here. So we're having a little bit of trouble getting over there. And this is a downtrend line. So this downtrend line is the most important. We get up to that point, and that's a heavy sell. That's a big sell spot. I'm not sure we'll get there though. So that's why we have some later date shorts already out there. So in order for this to happen, I think that Tesla needs to try to touch that trend line up above. I think NVIDIA just ekes out a new high. I think Amazon continues to move higher just to close that gap. And I think Apple has that one more point to 183 left. And that, I mean, that's just the last gasp. And that's the only way I think we get actually up here. All right, I think that's all I want to show. I hope this helps. Thanks for joining us here at Option Center. I'll do another video later on tonight. Have a good day.